The night air was heavy with the scent of rain and street food. Neon lights flickered over cracked sidewalks as people rushed past, umbrellas bobbing like dark clouds above them. At the corner of a small cafe near the old bus station, a boy sat with an old guitar, its strings rusted, its wood chipped and faded from years of struggle. His name was Arav. 16 years old. Barefoot. Hungry. But holding on to one thing that hadn't left him. His music. He had learned to play guitar from his father, once a musician who sang in roadside bars until a factory accident stole both his job and his dreams. When Arav was 12, his father died in his sleep, a silent goodbye that left only the guitar behind, and a mother whose eyes were too tired to hope anymore. For years, Arav sang on the streets. Some nights, he earned enough for a cup of tea. Most nights, he didn't. Still, he sang, not for fame, not for money, but because music was the only way he knew how to stay alive inside. That evening, the cafe was unusually busy. A few foreign tourists had gathered under the awning, escaping the rain. Arav sat nearby, clutching his guitar to his chest, staring at the crowd with timid eyes. He hesitated. People usually ignored him. Some even shouted, telling him to move. But tonight, something in the air, maybe the thunder, maybe the loneliness, made him whisper to himself, one sighing. Just one. He tightened the strings, brushed the dust off the body of the guitar, and began to strum the opening chords of Hotel California. The sound was raw, imperfect, but honest. His fingers trembled, but his voice rose above the rain, cracked yet filled with soul. On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, the cafe chatter began to fade. One by one, people turned their heads. A waiter stopped mid-step. A woman slowly lowered a coffee cup. Arav closed his eyes, losing himself in the sighing. Each lyric felt like his own story, of lost roads, cold nights, and dreams that refused to die. When he reached the chorus, something magical happened. A man in a dark coat stepped closer, his eyes locked on the boy. His lips moved softly, mouthing the lyrics along. It was Michael Reynolds, an American music producer traveling through India after a failed marriage and a creative burnout. He had stopped at the cafe by chance, seeking a quiet corner, but in Arav's trembling voice, he heard something he hadn't heard in years, truth. When the song ended, there was silence. Then, applause. It started with one person, then another, until the entire cafe clapped and cheered. Arav looked up, confused, shyly smiling for the first time in months. Michael approached, kneeling beside the boy. Kid, he said softly, where did you learn to sing like that? Arav looked down. My father. He used to sing before he left. Michael nodded. That sighing, you made it your own. You didn't just sing it, you lived it. Arav shrugged. It's the only one I know all the way through. Michael smiled, eyes glistening. Would you sing it again, for me? The next morning, Michael returned, but this time with a small recording setup. He told Arav's mother that he wanted to record a simple video. No stage, no studio, just the boy, his guitar, and the street he called home. They recorded in one take. Arav sat under the same flickering cafe light, with rain dripping softly from the awning. His voice cracked in places, but the emotion was real, painfully real. Michael uploaded the video that night under the title, Poor Boy's Raw Voice Turns Hotel California into Magic. He didn't expect much. But within hours, the video exploded. Millions watched, sharing comments like, this isn't just singing. This is soul. His pain turned into music. I cried listening to this. By the next morning, Arav's world changed. Reporters came looking for the street boy with the golden voice. Local news ran his story. People donated money. A music label called, but through all the noise, Arav stayed humble. When a journalist asked him what he wanted most, he simply said, I want my mother to smile again. Weeks later, Arav stood on a stage for the first time, barefoot, wearing a plain shirt, his old guitar still in his hands. Thousands watched as he sang the same song that once echoed only on rainy streets. Halfway through the performance, he looked to the front row. His mother sat there, tears streaming down her face, her hands trembling as she clutched her heart. Michael stood beside her, smiling like a proud father. When the final note faded, the audience rose in thunderous applause. But for Arav, the real victory wasn't the fame or the lights, it was seeing his mother stand up, eyes shining with pride for the first time in years. Months later, Arav released his first album. He called it Streets Have Hope. Every song told a story of pain turned into purpose, of broken dreams rebuilt with kindness. And on the back cover, he wrote a single line, to my father, who taught me to sing through silence, and to the stranger who heard me. Epilogue. Michael and Arav continued to work together, building a small foundation for street musicians. They helped children who had been forgotten, kids who sang on pavements, who had voices but no stage. And sometimes, when Araf walked past the cafe where it all began, he'd still hum those familiar words. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. Because that night, the night his song touched hearts, was the night kindness found him, and turned his pain into music.